motherfucker stuck in 1989. That's why his album's called One Less Jig.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 0 of season 4 of the Juggalo Rewind podcast. My name is Peter. I'm here with Chris. What is going on, Chris?
Nothing. I'm excited to be back. It's been too long. It was just a little dabble in October, a little dabble in Christmas, but now it's back in business.
Back full on for a new season.
Something's full on.
And we will get to what is going on with us in season 4 and what we're all about. We also have a studio audience. Hello, studio audience. He waved. If you have not listened before, we are, as we said, the Juggalo Rewind. We go through albums song by song, one episode at a time, one song at a time, and we dissect it more than humanly needs to be done.
I'd imagine on some of these, we spent more time on these tracks than they did in the studio.
100%.
They're like, what the fuck are you talking about this long?
We spent an hour on intros and smoke breaks that don't need to be done.
You know, well, this is for the Juggalo culture, as they say. You know, we're here to make sure it's documented for historical purposes. The Juggalo archives.
We're also trying something new this year, where we are having a video part to this, so you could be watching us on, where are we going to put this? YouTube. Be watching us on YouTube, or you can still listen to us on the normal Apple, Spotify.
You do both, because we're not, tech savvy individuals. So the video one is not going to have all the fun.
Why do you keep looking at the camera?
Fun drama. My fans.
Your fan right there. Steve's my fan. Thank you.
You're not going to have the fun drops.
Stop listening in the middle of season 2, but he's still a fan. A fan is a fan.
Yeah. Rate, review, subscribe. Tell your friends.
He didn't do any of that. Just leeches off of Rex's download.
But anyways, you listen, you get all the fun drops, bonus stuff, all the stuff that gets flagged on YouTube that we, obviously could never monetize any of these streams on the YouTube. But now the video, we're not going to add all that. The video is going to be the raw, so you might get a little bonus stuff. Kind of like Jay's autobiography. You get the audio book, you get a little bit more Jay, as opposed to reading it. So we could do both, I'd say.
I always need a little more J, right? Just turn that way.
They should have had you read, maybe the intro of the book, since you're co-author.
Co-author. He should have run down the credits and just been, additional by, and then I just pop in
additional information by Rob Bruce and Pete Tadao.
The studio audience has popped twice, and we've only been talking for 2 minutes. This is gonna go extremely well. So little different stuff on the audio and the video. The video is going to catch a little more of the nonsense, the break skis, but
we're not used to being on camera, so I'm sure I'll get sidetracked and wind up not paying attention to what I'm doing over here. So
I'll be fiddling with my shirt, picking my nose, and now people are actually going to look at us
making drinks over here.
Or I'll be looking at this best of WWF Volume 13.
Yeah, what are we watching after we turn this off and pop the VHS in?
Tito and Randy Savage match never been seen before.
That's probably a barn burner.
You know what I keep seeing clips of, and I never noticed? Steve will be interested in this. The Rumble, where it was Hogan and Warrior met face to face.
Yeah.
When they cleared the ring, they're like, okay, we got.
Tito wasn't eliminated; he was still hanging out, right?
He launched Tito. I mean, Tito's still. Now in retrospect, he seemed old at the time, right? But Warrior fucking launched him over the top rope. I keep seeing that clip today on YouTube or on Twitter. So shout out to Tito Santana.
That's right. He's a Gathering alumni, probably. I imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he 100%. Had to have been all those guys.
If not in the very early ones with Valentine and Beefcake, then definitely one of those the Legends ones
where they just loaded it up.
God, that's going to be a fun. I mean, that's a whole nother story. I want to do a whole Gathering wrestling one with Greg.
Series, but
that's in the future.
Yeah, it's online. We're here for something else. We're here to dig up, plant that lotus flower, resurrect somebody. That's what we're about to do.
Depending on your story, yes, that is.
Which origin story you believe?
That is how Boys was brought back up. So, as we mentioned, we go through albums one by one. Season 1, we did Most Tasteless by Twisted. Season 2, Tales from the Lotus Pod 3 was Wizard of the Hood.
Yep.
And then we also threw some bonuses in there, Halloween 01 and
Carnival Christmas 94.
yes. So we're back at it. If you missed any of those, go back and listen, or you can jump on in right now and still figure out what the fuck we're talking about. We're just two guys from Detroit talking about our past, our, I don't know, stories, knowledge, teachings, but bringing other people's, information in and
Yeah, historical documentation and our personal Juggalo history.
good job.
Yeah.
If you want to listen to quick versions of, this CD or any other album we've gone over, you can listen to Deck One Dealt or Juggalo Judgment or ICP with We is now doing their Twisted season. So you can always listen to other people talk about other such things, but we dive a little deeper.
Yeah, you get a little general overview maybe from them, and now you come back to us and you get deep in the weeds, track by track. This is going to be a long one.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I don't want to just skip over the eulogy. I want to hear someone talk about it for 90 minutes.
Right.
Come to us. You want to hear me and Rex talk about Smoke Break for 40 minutes? About 40-second track? You can do that.
We did that twice. We got a guest in the studio audience here.
Did you skip over Smoke Breaks too? Yeah. That's okay. What else do we do in the intro here? We should mention, we'll mention where you can find us.
I can chase the dog out. See, this is what you get in the video. You get to watch me chase the dog out.
Yeah, you may not get this in the audio, but you get it in the video. He just wants to sit on the bed, on the couch. He's good. Chris walks in front of the camera. If you want to find us on any social medias, we're on everything you can think of. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're blowing up. You know how it is. Big on the old TikTok with the kids. That's at Juggalo RWD. Now you can find us on YouTube. That's just Juggalo RWD, right? The YouTube.
What's that?
on YouTube, it's just tag Juggalo RWD.
Yeah, I believe so.
You can email us, JuggaloRewind. JuggaloRWD at gmail.com.
Right.
JuggaloRewind.com is the website. Or you can call or text us. 810-666-1570. We've put it in all the notes because someone complained that they couldn't find it, even though we talk about it 8 times in every episode. But that is 810-666-1570.
And that's the fan favorite. And we get the most interaction from the hotline. People of this fan base miss the old hotlines. At least our generation.
You can't listen to the whole thing. It's like a minute long. God damn it, you said you were going to be quiet over here. This is going horribly wrong so far.
Sidetracked instantly. Video exclusive here.
Yes. I was literally probably doing this while I was walking the dog. There you go.
Oh, surprise giveaway.
Well, yeah, that was before the Christmas one.
Once again, leave a message. We'll get back to you, or we'll just share it amongst us and laugh. Thanks for calling.
He doesn't even leave a message.
He didn't even leave a message.
Asshole. What a dick.
He's just doing that so it's in his favorites now, so he can call
So
it
you had to
back
listen,
whenever he
though, and
wants.
sidetrack us.
Son of a bitch.
It's just fucking rap tunnel of love.
That'll get played on air.
Yeah, we'll use that. Texting or calling that, we've interacted with lots of different people. Speaking of interacting with people,
Yeah.
we haven't talked about it on the pod yet. Shout out to the guy who stopped me at Hallowicked and said, "Are you one of the guys from the Rewind podcast?" And I'm like, how the fuck do you know that?
Recognize your voice? Is
I have
that
no idea. It was me, Kelly, Scotty, and Rex just standing there, and he came up and started talking to us. I'm like,
Oh,
I don't remember his name. Super cool guy. He said he quote does not fuck with the other side, so he does not listen to the
so
Twisted deal. So he may not be
he
listening.
only
to
listened
us.
to Wizard of the Hood season.
See the laundry room.
So I don't know what his if he's still going to be listening, but I thought that was interesting that we're...
Did he ask about me? He's probably, where's the fun one?
I'm like, this is Kelly.
This is Kelly, the movie's reference?
We've had Kelly on the podcast, and he's like, yeah. So, then we had some superstars.
That's
there.
exciting.
So, no, that was cool. Shout out to that guy, and to everyone who's been, fans of ours.
Yeah, so we had some fun interactions at Fright Fest. A few folks ran into and stuff.
Yeah, we saw Blade. We saw Veronica.
Yeah.
We saw a bunch of people. So
It's like the good old days.
It is.
Seeing
We're just
familiar faces.
making new friends, making old friends, new friends, everybody.
Getting everyone back in the Juggalo spirit.
Not everybody. I like that we're playing to the crowd and he's not playing back to us. That's okay.
You said something else, that second deck. I was like, what is that?
Oh. That's okay. You don't need to know about that. This season, as we said, we were talking... Well, we didn't say it, did we?
Yeah, no, I guess not. Kind of. Hinted at it. Alluded at it.
We are going to discuss Blaze's One Less G in the Hood.
Debut LP.
Yes.
If you will.
He did have his EP before that, but we are going for the camera. I don't know if they can see that. Straight first album.
Yeah.
Notes right away,
Yeah.
right? We are only going to talk about the original version of the EP.
Yeah.
Not the deluxe version, not the Spotify version.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up original CD.
CD, and it was only a CD. Later released as a
Yes.
tape. But and we discussed this because Most Tasteless, we did Most Tasteless, and then the reissue tracks on the back end.
Correct.
I don't think there's a reason to do the deluxe edition tracks
No,
because they're
because
like thrown on. They're not. It's not a reissue.
I thought you were going to say because they suck.
Come on now, we don't have to say that much. But it's not an album, Those are just bonuses for that version. And, yeah, the intro is different. Everything's kind of...
All the songs are slightly different. Yeah, different in and out of each song.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
cut like 2 of the tracks. Add 3 that don't fit the vibe of that era.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, I think in the
unnecessary.
wrap-up we could discuss why all that happened because it makes sense when you dig into why they couldn't
right,
put some of those. But, yeah, that's about 6 months down the line.
Yeah.
This page, these...
Check our calendar.
Yeah.
How many tracks are on this thing? Like 18? 15? We got a lot.
Of course, there's no numbers in the back.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So, what about the tape?
Does it have the amount of...
No.
15 tracks.
15 tracks,
Yeah.
and then we're going to have... This is episode 0. We'll have a wrap-up. We may have a bonus or 2 in the middle. So, we're going to be talking Blaze for quite a long time.
Yeah.
We're also going to be talking Blaze right through Astronomicon this year.
Right.
So,
And we'll be hanging out with your dead homie at Astronomicon, so better come check us out.
yes.
We'll not tell you what yet, I guess. Save that.
Yeah. Because we don't know if that's official. I mean, it should be official, but
Yeah.
every year we do Juggalo trivia, and Blaze is hosting with us. So.
Yeah. And the ROC sometimes. 3 out of the 4 years he was
Most of
also
the time he's
in the
been there.
house, so...
1 year Dustin was there.
Yeah. He did back down. He did not take up my offer for the World Title Championship
Yes,
at Astro.
you weren't
He backed
there
down.
that year. You were
No,
there.
he popped in another year at the outdoor.
Oh, that was you? I thought that was me.
He
and
came with a
Jacob.
belt, and I challenged him, and he stepped down.
Whoop your fucking
He wanted no part of this.
Unnecessary. And we didn't mention it, but this is episode 0, which you may ask yourself, what is episode 0?
Yeah.
We do that to make sure that we get everything straight, test everything out, just kind of set the groundwork for what the season's going to be. So.
Yeah, and a little backstory, because when you're doing it track by track, as opposed to the whole album, it's hard to, give the backstory of the artist, the album, and all that. So that's kind of where this kicks in.
We have no Booskies of the week yet this year, but
No, we're trying to watch our figure on the Juggalo on TV now.
Yeah, we
so
gotta-
a little gin.
So I have my hot water, lemon, and honey here,
Yeah.
and my. Well, put the Juggalo Rewind logo straight. I don't know if that's to be seen, but what do you got there?
A little gin and tonic here. We will probably bring out a Brewski of the week because Blaze our superstar of the season, is a big fan of beers. If you follow him on Instagram, he's Mr.
great.
Blaze Jet IPA man. So we have to find something to pair with him.
That's true. We'll figure something out. We'll put those two together in the new. So what else do we have? Do we have any background on us? Everyone pretty much knows our deal.
Go
right?
back to very first episode 0 for more backstory on us, I'd say.
I would tend to agree.
Yeah, you know who we are.
You know who we are.
Don't know why we're here.
Pop and Steve, left and right. So you did most of the research on this. So do you want to kind of start steering the ship?
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't know. Like, what do we dive in at right off the bat here? It's been a minute.
Let's do the era of where they were.
Where this dropped?
Yeah. So, which leads into what I was just looking for before, right?
Yeah.
This CD, album, as we like to call it, officially dropped on October 31st of 2001.
Yes.
Long time in the making, because his original EP came in July of 2000, so nice year and a half wait here.
And he first shows up on
Riding Dirty?
Not Riding Dirty.
Dumpin',
and that's
99.
99, so yeah, a few years in the making already for his debut album.
And a lot of the CDs that we've talked about have been in this era, which is crazy, right? So your era of Psychopathic here. Ryder's second album was in July of 01.
What a perfect summer album, too, by the way. Riding Dirty.
Followed quickly by Tales from the Lotus Pod. You got Cryptic Collection, Volume 2.
That's a good one. I think that's better than 1, personally.
And then One Less G in the Hood comes out in October.
Yeah.
Is this the era? It's got to be. This is that time where ICP is like, we're in hiding for the sex, and they didn't do shit.
Yeah.
So
disappeared after the 01 gathering, right? Is that the Lotus fell apart? They kind of disappeared and came back at the 02 gathering, right? Isn't that how it's where they?
Yeah, I think so. They're like, they weren't seen. They didn't have any albums.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, people pump out shit left and right. So, so yeah, it was up to Blaze and Twisted to kind of hold it down. Riders and Lotus for that year. One thing to note: the official date of this CD's release was October 31st. It's supposed to come out on Halloween. I believe they had some distribution problems, so you didn't find it all over right away.
Right.
But
That Rock of Ages.
exactly where we're going with this. October 20th, 2001, this CD was available at Rock of Ages on Ford Road in Garden City, Michigan.
A Juggalo mecca, if you will.
Yes. And now it's a mecca of Trump stickers and,
fish tank
food.
material.
Not,
They got new stuff in there.
but yeah, I definitely made a note of it. God, I can't believe that CD came out that long ago. We're just talking 01. Jesus
Yeah, that's crazy.
Christ. So yeah, this came out 2 weeks early. Rock of Ages kind of had that, what do you call,
Exclusive rights to release early? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm saying that,
Early there. He went there.
yes.
Ford looking.
If everything came out on Tuesdays,
That Friday before. Back then it was. No, yeah, back then it was Tuesday.
Tuesdays.
So that Friday before, they're just knew it was going to happen. They knew it was going to shift to Friday releases. So we'll do it the Friday before.
Yeah, I'm sure they weren't trying
See
to.
the Black Album there early.
They were,
Blaze makes sense under the radar. Jay-Z the Black Album is one to pull out a little crazy, pulling out early, but
yeah,
different times.
I'm sure that the day that they sold it, they scanned it on the right
I
day.
heard somebody got Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Black Album there.
The Rockefeller's going to be coming after you for your $8.
BBC.
So that was our official date of release locally.
Do we want to discuss the timeline now or save that till after?
You go right ahead with whatever you're thinking.
So, the album itself had multiple release dates. From what I gathered, digging deep in the old InsaneClownPosse.com on the Wayback Machine, the first mentioned release date for this was 10/9. Was when it was supposed to drop. And then they switched it. Oh, it's 10/16. We're pushing it back.
Sounds about normal.
And then eventually it switched all the way to we're gonna do it on Halloween. So it makes more sense being on Halloween. He's a dead body. He's coming back. He's a zombie.
I even feel like it may have been earlier than that.
Yeah,
Hi,
very initially.
Excuse me. Thank you. He's on our notes. Good boy. We'll talk about that later, and we'll put stuff up like on Instagram. But I swear on the original flyers, it just said either like coming soon or like I thought it was summer.
Yeah.
So we'll find out quickly. Oh, we have a huge studio audience coming in. Everyone, come on in. He's fine. No, he's okay. He's a good boy. He's fine. That's okay.
We'll cover him up. Now he's gone.
Yep.
This is what happens. See, the video people get all the extra nonsense.
Yeah.
Shenanigans galore in the studio. This is a real studio, by the way. You could tell. Look around.
Yeah.
How professional this looks.
Crack it open, boy.
The engineers making too much noise over there.
He should be behind the glass in the booth. So yeah, as you said, release date bounced around, but that's typical of Psychopath.
But anyways, back to us purchasing it ahead of time at Rock of Ages.
Oh yeah, 100%. I remember specifically playing it in the Blazer, driving all the way home, and I don't think I stayed in the car and listened to it. I must have taken it out and listened to the rest.
Yeah,
because it was not a full drive home. But
I remember going there early and getting it. And it was the day we were moving my grandma out of her house in Detroit to her condo in Westland, Michigan. I remember having to go there and get that ahead of time and then like rushing to go back to Detroit to help move. And bumping that on the little like back and forth of packing up and moving. I clearly remember that part.
Everyone remembers the first time they got
busted out One Last G in the hood.
Oof, classic. And we'll get into if we think it's a classic album and what classic tracks there are.
Yeah, we got 16 weeks or so to marinate on it.
Yeah, we got plenty of time for all that. What else do we want to talk about with the timeline? Do you want to talk about the actual, like, putting together of the album and Blaze in particular?
Yeah, let's run down. I mean, folks listening to this probably know Blaze, but we could give a little general overview of who the dead homie is. Who he was before he became a dead homie.
Oh man, we can't even get into all the different versions of how he came back to life, right? That's too many.
Yeah, that's when did we save that for? Maybe the eulogy. We discussed that because that's his.
Well, that's coming up real soon, so we don't have a lot of time for that. Basically, long story short, Blaze was a friend of Twisted or House of Crazies.
Yes, at the
in
time,
the mid '90s. Went to RLC in particular to record his album, which was with Scraps,
right?
Which was Two Crazy Devils. They recorded that. They became friends. If they weren't friends before that, then he kind of just not hung on, because that sounds horrible, but just stayed friends with them.
Became part of the crew, as you will.
And I don't know, is it really known? Was he part of, like, the House of Crazy's crew? Like, was he hanging out with them, like, in the studio? Or just friendly from afar,
Yeah, I mean, he's noted he was hanging out in the studio for, like, all of the Most Tastes recordings.
So he's...
they opened, I know, a House of Crazy show or two, or more at the time.
And he did talk about at that Ann Arbor Astronomicon, that show that they did in Ipsy, he was specifically there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was around. You never really hear about that part of it.
About the very early days.
But he was definitely around. He must have, not to insinuate, but he stayed friends with Monoxide and Jamie.
Right.
And then followed them over. And like you said, he was with them while they were recording parts of Most Tasteless. You can hear him in the background of one or two songs.
Yeah, he sings the hook on What the Fuck.
They gave him a verse that came out on a later version, or on Cryptic 1, right? So yeah, he was around definitely in that era.
Yeah, they were. Story goes they wanted him to be on the ISI was going to be the group as opposed to yeah. So he was there with them all the way from their beginning. So he's always been tied up in this little community Juggalo world.
And then, like you said, he was on Riders before he was even Blaze. I mean,
it's kind of weird that he debuted as Cell Block, which is kind of weird.
It's real sweet because he's real sweet on that CD. And then he just finally kind of got his foot in the door and started recording his EP.
Yep.
You have here in December of '99, which would be. I mean, that's kind of the timeline. That would be right before, or I'm sorry, right after.
Yeah, Riders.
So right in that same time frame.
Yeah, and this some of these notes I got from he had an interview on Fago Lovers. So last year, 2 years ago, for his anniversary of it, he discussed that they recorded it all at the disc. Everyone was recording the disc at this time, which what an era of both sides of like the Juggalo world and non-Juggalo hip hop in Detroit. Like that era of artists rolling through the disc is so interesting. But he said they recorded that there. It was just Blaze and Twist who put it together. They brought it to Psychopathic for the release. And he said not everyone at the label was a fan of the EP when it dropped, so they wanted to get it off the shelves quick. Like they just whatever they pressed up, they didn't like the gimmick, as you will. And
how is that like possible? Did they not?
You didn't like it?
Well, yeah, no, that's obvious. How did they not like it? How did they not give him that gimmick? Do you think? Did he mention this, or is that something we have to dive into?
Yeah, I think that's something.
They came to Psychopathic with that gimmick. You would think it's the other way around. Like you are a dead body.
You need to be that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, Steve's pantomiming to us about the pantyhose because he's a gangster. He doesn't want to be seen while he's robbing, while he's pistol whipping bitches, putting holes in motherfuckers.
Absolutely.
I mean, I guess as we're gonna get through this. I don't even know if it's the character. Maybe they did give him the character, but that album is less theatrical than this album. Like when it comes like Maggot Face and things like that.
Now I want to start like. I mean, I listened to the EP, but they specifically talk about him being a dead body, right?
Yeah, but it's
like this is a really because this one goes in depth about.
That's what I'm saying. I think Psychopathic. As we say, Psychopathic Violent J.
No, Jesus
the big
Christ.
man. Probably
your boss.
Well, we all insinuate and kind of think that
we'll answer to someone, and you answer to him.
He kind of goes deep on the mythology aspect, and if you listen to the EP, yeah, he's a dead body, but he's just rapping like straight up 80s gangster rap. Like it really, you take away that gimmick, it just that he could just been rapping straight up West Coast rap from the 80s, where the LP drops and it's Maggot Face, The Casket, Grave Ain't No Place. Like it's all like every song is about him coming back from the dead. Like it's all theatrical character.
Like track 13, you're like, hey, remember, I'm a dead body. Right?
In case you forgot, I am dead.
I have dirt on me and I am rotting away.
I know I did a song about robbing people, so you might have forgot. You might have thought I was alive robbing people. No, I'm a dead body. I'm still dead, guys. So yeah, I think it's more like the theatrical characteristics. That's when it came with the EP, but that's what he said at the time. Didn't divulge deeper into it other than that.
Does that try to like erase the EP from the Blaze canon?
No, because they did. Did they repress it after that? Right? Like it was.
I don't know if that's.
Hey,
it wasn't like on a red, where they did like the distribution. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know what to tell you. But regardless, they went to they recorded that in December of '99, released in July of 2000.
And before it released, he left the label.
Yeah, that's weird that he comes and goes at least
Twice, I thought, but in my digging on the Wayback Machine, there's a post about him leaving in 2000. The post insinuates he didn't like the structure of his payments, is how it kind of sounded.
Yeah.
It did not sound very, it didn't sound nice. I don't know. We won't get into the drama of early 22 years ago of young men at the time.
Yes, why they left and came back.
But he left. He left in December of 2000 and came back 3 months later in 2001. That was another post. We'll dig those up and share them to the feed. They announced he came back in March of 01, and then right then and there, they started recording One Less G in the Hood. Right before the second leg of Bizarre Bizarre, because then they take him on tour with them on the second leg. So he does all his vocals before the second leg, and then from what he says, a lot of it was.
No, I already have other stuff. I don't want to interrupt.
Okay.
Go ahead.
He says a lot of it was the bare bone tracks that Fritz made. He rapped over them, and then when he came back, they had like different beats. Some of them, Mike P did or beefed them up. All that, so he wasn't even involved with like the mastering production of it. He just laid all his stuff down and then went on tour with ICP for Bizarre Bizarre.
And then Huggy Bear deleted it all.
Huggy Bear was a real person, as he points out in his story. Huggy Bear is one of Mike P's like engineer guys, and I think he tells the story that he's very like loud and obnoxious, boisterous. So like when they say Huggy Bear deleted, he's like, oh fuck. He's like all Max. He's like, I remember that asshole. He's like crazy.
That's so funny.
We'll get to that when we get to that skip. But
we'll put that somewhere. That's got to go somewhere on this.
So on the timeline though, it was March through May. He did all his work for the album, left, and then it was just basically Twisted doing the mastering and production, finishing touches, all that stuff.
Now I'm dying to know, because I'm sure we all saw it, but none of us can remember. Steve can't remember fucking what he had for breakfast today. He came back in March. Mm-hmm. He recorded One Less G. When you say he recorded it from March to May, did he go out on tour right away? Or like did the tour second leg start in May? Because my point being, what did he go out on tour and play?
Just the EP, because he was the first opener.
So he just had 4 songs?
Yeah, I mean, maybe 1 or 2 of the new ones.
Well, I'm not saying they're not sweet, but like he just did.
I mean, we were the first opener back then. Yeah, a couple tracks in and out.
But he was like a psychopath.
Then they bring Nashville Pussy out, get batteries thrown at him.
But he's not just some. He's not some like local dickhead. He's like a label guy.
But it's just getting his feet wet, bringing him out there a little bit on the tour. Actually,
label guy. What we doing, Isla or whatever? What season is that?
Patreon exclusive, probably.
Yeah, we'll save that for later.
I'm in on every.
I'm in on Isla. We didn't point out why he was probably on tour, though. His job at the time. He was just like a roadie for Psychopathic, really, in that era.
I wouldn't doubt it.
He even said he was. He said he was brought in. It was kind of like wrestling. You're paying your dues in there.
Before, I guess.
I mean, I guess at that time, maybe he does say that he had a day job, and at some point, Alex said, "Hey, we'll come be full time here." But I'm sure he still had all those odd and end jobs while he's recording. Now
my time frame is thrown off, and I want to start looking, but I'm not going to be able to multitask. Him and ABK did do that for Twisted. I mean, I saw them on small ass shows where they opened for Twisted, and you could tell that they were, and not in a bad way, like you said, they're paying their dues, but they were, setting up and sweeping and just.
And Twisted tells the same story when they were on like the House of Horrors tour with ICP. They were like straight up doing their laundry and shit.
Yeah, they were the clowns, like fucking Fago break shit. Like, you just had to do what you had to do. That's not
Blaze the Times being Michael Myers, on stage with Twisted.
Oh man. But yeah, so just the timeline is a little weird for me, but Yeah, I just wonder what he went out on tour with, because
I seen him on that tour. I went to the second leg. That was the one in Toledo I went to, with Mars opening. It was Mars and Blaze, I believe, on that second leg.
I think they both were on that.
So I was at that show, but
Yeah, you don't remember what
I have photos, I think, of Blaze in a shitty, like, disposable zip, wind-up camera.
Nice.
I dig those out. They'll just be blurry haze of people, but
yeah, it's just
we'll share those.
Lights and people and Blaze like that big. Yeah. But like we were actually talking about with Paradigm, with Blaze at that time, you heard the song so many times live that you knew it way before.
Right.
Like, we knew Straight Outta Detroit. We knew Saturday Afternoon
was being played like crazy before we actually got the album. We were hearing that.
It's funny, we were talking about that Tailgater show. Specifically, I remember there was a song that, like, we were singing along, and he stared at us like, how the fuck do you know this? Because it wasn't out. But we saw them at that time so
many times locally at every little bar.
But yeah, Blaze was, I mean, we always saw him opening for Twisted, so you got to know the new stuff. Like, hey, this is a new song. Hood Rats, they played all the time.
Hood Rats was the early one.
Beforehand. What was the other one they did all the time? Thug for Life, maybe? Or Put That on the Hatchet? No, that's not the name of the song. That's the old name of it, right? They renamed that one.
I'm not sure.
But yeah, we knew some of those, so I just wonder how quickly those got on the tour or what his set list looked like. That's all. If only we knew someone who had... Yeah, no. It's all good. So going on your thing... Oh, you already said that. The Twisted mixed and mastered everything while he was on tour.
Yeah.
That's good.
See, I did my homework for you.
You did. I was watching every TPI and you were doing this. And one of our things came through, and one of them still on the bird back.
Yeah, sure, I'll take one of those. Why not?
All right.
Bartender.
Bartender. Do you want to discuss the original track listing, or is that going to be an end of the season kind of thing?
No, we can discuss that here. I do not know where I pulled this from. This looks like PT.
The colors?
The colors, it must have been a PT poster I pulled this from.
How would we have gotten? There's no way.
But it wasn't just like, if I pulled that from there, it wasn't because someone speculated. It was
Yeah, come on in. We're all friendly here.
The man of mystery, he does the outro if you listen all the way through to the end of the podcast.
Yeah. You've been a part of the podcast since
from the very beginning. Yeah, you're the outro every episode.
I may have to update. Usually,
I wasn't a part of a couple of them.
Oh, come on now.
He's our harshest critic, this guy. So if I took this track listing off PD, it was because it was a share of a InsaneClownPosse.com one that was like lost in the Wayback Machine that you couldn't see.
Just trying to give it that
ambiance. It's good for Blaze. As the announcement video I made was
with the
billowing
smoke. Except there was no audio on the one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I may have been the I don't remember which one it was.
TikTok?
Yeah, one of them was just like straight like 2 minutes of that with no sound, and I'm like,
you didn't tell me this.
Well, I didn't know, maybe it was mine. I didn't know if it was the whole thing.
Whatever. We're here. It's happening. So this rumored track listing, I believe this was pulled from InsaneClownPosse.com, and they said this track listing makes no sense, by the way. Like, the flow of the album
would be so weird.
Open, Maggot Face. Track 2, Saturday Afternoon. Track 3, Grave Ain't No Place. Track 4, Casket. 5, Straight Outta Detroit. 6, Here I Am. 7, Put Down the Hatchet. We were discussing that. Is that... That's that little, like...
The little
Thug for Life. It turns in... No,
that's, Hatchet Love. No.
Yeah, Hatchet Love.
Hatchet Love.
Yeah, that's what that becomes. Nasty, Thug for Life, Given Half the Chance, You Can't Hurt Me Now, Hood Rats, which is weird, like almost at the end, Hatch Execution, Juggalo Anthem, and then the Eulogy. That doesn't make any sense.
I guess Eulogy at the end kind of makes sense, like the eulogy of the album, but in the way that they created it, that'd be dumb as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, you're not eulogizing the album.
And I guess as we'll get to that next week, Blaze says he had no part of that jump steady, came up with his own and like added it. So maybe they just said we're gonna have a eulogy And then, we'll have the preacher record it. So maybe,
Right.
like you said, this was the idea to end the album, like,
If it would have
eulogizing
wrapped it, like one in the beginning and one at the end, but yeah, just straight up like that.
Yeah. I mean,
real
maybe
fucking
that was
dumb.
the plan, because that track listing probably was put down before they had an intro, outro. Imagine that's the last piece of the puzzle, you'd think.
Maybe that's Jay writing down his tracks in order of how he liked them.
You never know what they were posting back then. Who was, what was the...
Netmaster Gordon or the Southern Crumpet?
Southern Crumpet, that's my favorite of that era.
Sorry, they're all dickheads. Sorry, were you a fan of any of them in particular?
I just remember that shit.
I just remember that shit.
Everyone had a gimmick name.
Not me. Oh, fuck.
All right. Well, we'll edit it. So yeah, that's the history of One Less G. I guess it should be mentioned, we started to talk about it, but this eventually came out as a deluxe edition.
Yeah.
Combined with the EP, but through one song of the EP was off and the intro. 2 or 3 songs from here were off, and then 3 songs were added.
And that was a psychopathic release still, right?
Yes. I don't know what year that was.
Yeah. It was late. It was like very tail end of...
In the 2000s, right?
2010s, yeah.
Oh, I didn't think it was in
I
the...
fucking hope so.
Yeah, I didn't think it was like in the 10s. I thought it was like 08, 09.
Oh, no, I think it was in the 10s. Let's see. I have it pulled up here, I believe.
I was just going to pull it up on the old...
2006. God, you're right. Phew.
They just wanted to make the money off of it. Yeah,
I guess that makes sense, though. If the EP was out of circulation fast, that's the only way you get the EP then.
and they took off Shit Talkers.
Yeah.
Kind of weird. But I actually just listened to Deck One Dealt, their episode. I mean, it's from a while ago, but it was about this, and they speculated why they took off the songs that they did.
I mean, some are obvious for use of certain things, and some are obvious for copyright reasons, like Straight Outta Detroit.
Probably can't use that.
Yeah.
You speculate that they didn't use Shit Talkers because of what Jay was saying, even though it was edited already.
Yeah, what is he saying in that one?
He's a straight Eminem diss.
Oh, yeah.
But
and at that point, they're made up, right? They the bowling, the squash bowling.
I can't keep track of all that. I have
event
no idea.
at the Garden Bowl.
His verse wasn't great in there anyway. So.
D12 and Psychopathic Records had a bowling match at the Garden Bowl. That was how they squashed their beef. Yeah, it feels good. Both worlds. And we said the disc. There's two sides. There's the Juggalo world and the Detroit hip hop.
All came together.
Came together at the Garden Bowl over some Sergeant Pepperoni, probably. I mean, if you eat that pizza, you make up with anybody.
Just go right now. Fire up the car. Let's go. I'm ready.
You picked my favorite flavor, by the way.
So yeah, that came later on, and then again we alluded to the cassette tape came out on Magic Ninja much later. I'd say we're talking 2000.
Technically, I don't believe it came on anything. I don't believe.
Oh man, I got that out somewhere.
Yeah, no, there's no label.
I mean, I may have purchased it from one.
This
of
is
them.
Homemade, one of a kind.
All right.
Yeah, definitely no label on that. So it's a no label release.
If you notice, which is kind of funny, I'm sure it's somewhere. The original doesn't have a psychopathic number.
Oh yeah, because they always had the number in the catalog.
Yeah. Like 1025, 26, it ran, and M&E does that too. Now,
They're like, this guy ain't gonna last. We don't need to put a number on.
Don't even waste a number on him.
Never
Disrespectful.
Raiders jersey if it wasn't for Blaze.
Oh, we'll get to all that for sure. Same thing.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's
100%.
so much that he brings to the.
Khakis. Priest.
Talk about him just bringing your things to the Juggalo world.
Yeah.
That, like he is known for.
Same thing. I never owned any Raiders gear. Blaze shows up. I'm like, fuck it, the Raiders are in the Super Bowl. Fuck yeah, beat the Buccaneers. I'm like,
Was that at the same time?
that was the
No.
Tom Brady Are we talking about football still?
Yeah, I was gonna say, when did Woodson? He didn't get drafted to the Raiders, did he?
Yeah. Hey, he was originally a Raider.
Green Bay first.
No, Green Bay was his last.
After.
The game where Tom Brady
Yeah.
definitely was a fumble. They rule pass. Watched that. I worked at an Italian restaurant. Watching that after hours at the bar there.
R.I.P.
Rob Mateus, yeah. It's good. Fucking great Italian food.
I watched that game at school, I remember.
Yeah. But at the time, he had Woodson, so I take Woodson over Brady when it comes to Michigan lore. So I had Woodson, I had Blaze. I was all in on the Raiders in that game.
And what have they done for you since?
I don't care. I'm a Bengals fan again. My old child. No. I'm a Lions fan. I'm talking about B teams here. Lions fan, B team. I had to pick a team in the playoffs. I'm cheering for my B team. I liked them as a kid because their uniforms are cool. Which was a bad move because, you grew up in Detroit. Not Steve, diehard Lions fan. Doesn't have a B team. A lot of people in Detroit have a B team because Lions have been so bad our whole lives.
Because I've won one playoff game in my entire life.
So the B team I
Which
picked,
I saw and watched and enjoyed, but that was fucking 30 years ago.
the B team I picked though is just as shitty in their lifetime, and now they're both good. Now they're both good. Got them all hot over there.
I'm wearing Lions colors today, so I'm repping the team. Steve's mad now. That didn't take long.
Speaking of Lions, Blaze Jet homie slept in garbage cans like every Lions season. Stadium stays packed tight, even though we all know they're losing.
Speaking of Blaze, the Lion, season 3.
Yeah.
At the Palace during the Pistons' good run too. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't doubt it.
Oh yeah,
I feel like we saw him all the time. I had a nice run of free tickets, at the Palace, and we saw the homie there a few times, wearing his own gimmicks a few times.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've seen him at Tigers games. I don't know who I've seen more at a Tigers game, Blaze or Rhino. I definitely see them both every time I go to a Tigers
I mean, back
game.
to our shameless plug for Astro. Before we ever start trivia every year, we discuss Lions draft with
Yes.
Blaze because it's usually right after the draft, and we're like breaking down the draft with Big Blaze before the trivia kicks off.
That must have been the same weekend. It was right around the time because we asked him at the Ann Arbor one. Like, we're just like, hey, what do you think about their draft? It was like the second and the later rounds, and he straight up said, those guys are going to be baristas in a couple of weeks, and they're going to be on the team. And I'm like, God damn. We talked about doing Detroit sports with. I'd be hosting with Chris and Chris, Big Chris and local sports with Chris and Chris. I'd be the host.
How do we get on this tangent? Where are we at?
No idea. We're talking about the tape.
The tape, that's how we got to here.
If you look,
Oh yeah, no number.
I don't know if this is totally official. We'd have to look at on the ring. No, I'm not even talking to the cat in the thing. Oh, I thought you were talking on the phone. It says 1029 Blaze.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that means the psychopathic 1029 number. But it's just funny.
Well, you'd
that-
have to look at what album right before it, what their number was.
Well, it wouldn't have been.
Lotus
Wouldn't have been. Lotus and Riders didn't have
numbers either.
You'd have to hope that Cryptic 2 had a number.
What was the last real one before that?
We didn't make that much of a list.
Wouldn't Lotus be? Lotus is real. I mean, that was in retail. It just didn't have anything on it because of the gimmick. But that was an official release. That wound up on the charts. It was a It debuted
The
on
charts.
on I have it right here. The U.S. overall chart debuted 158, and on the indie charts, it debuted at 6.
I'm dying to know what the 5 ahead of it were,
Oh, this was crazy. So when I was
or the one below it was.
so I was pulling this ICP.
Hey, Joe Kane.
Oh,
This is not an ICP episode or season, but when I pulled what came out before and after, ICP has 3 albums that debuted in the top 5 on the overall U.S. charts. Can you name those 3 albums?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
So ICP had 3 albums that debuted in the top 5 on the whole U.S. Billboard chart.
Jekyll Brothers.
Yep. You're not going to get the next 2.
Oh, God, it can't be Malenko.
No.
Yeah, it's because I got pulled too fast. No, those didn't go. Those didn't debut high, did they? Bizarre.
They decently high, 20 and 21.
Who bought one and not the other? Like what?
Well, they got it.
What's the difference? Like,
You're gonna have it exactly tied. You're telling me everyone bought exactly both copies and they're tied? Like it's gonna be tied at 2021.
but if you had them both, you're just like, man, I got $20 in my pocket. I'm gonna
I mean,
get.
there's probably a young kid who's like,
Question
I only
marks.
got enough money this week for first bazaar. I'll get the second bazaar the next week. You know, it's
What if you got the wrong order?
there's probably
I'll get the second bizarre next.
there's no one who
motherfucker
every
couldn't
single
get the
person
second
bought
bazaar.
both. I mean, someone might even know. Someone's like, oh, I like ICP. I'll buy the one album. Like
Maybe they didn't know there were two.
it's
They
crazy
just-
to me. It's crazy they're that close to each other.
This one has my axe on it. That's the one
I think it's crazier that they're 20 and 21. That shows
they
you how
were
many
that
people
close,
bought
both?
of them. More than anything,
Okay.
you're gonna have to go further down the line for the next two.
fucking melons over there, dude.
Dying. It's like closer to now.
I mean,
Oh,
it's out of the era we're in, but
I was gonna say something stupid like Forgotten Freshness 1 and 2, but
no, Bang Pow Boom
wow,
and the Mighty Death Pop.
wow,
And I think more so that came.
those are the
Is-
second deck, Steve. I know you're not familiar with.
I think those are less they sold because fucking the amount that Jekyll Brothers sold in '99 to be at 4.
Yeah.
There's only one or two platinum albums. The reason those two are that high, there's no way they even sold like close to Jekyll. It's just because
Comparative.
they're
to
buying
what
it in
was,
2009, 2012 or whatever. It's the physical media was not selling nowhere near it was at that time. It's just funny that those two popped up that high.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, what was I saying?
Blaze was on the top 182.
No,
of the,
One Less G though. Here we go. Tie it back. One Less G, 25 on the indie charts when it debuted. Not bad for an album as the album we discussed was fucking impossible to find for people outside
Yeah.
of this area. It seemed early on.
They probably didn't count all the Rock of Ages ones from the week before. He lost 2 weeks worth of. I'll go buy it right now. We'll make up for it. Blaze, I'll go to Best Buy and buy your album again. You got that sound scan up
Get
there.
the sound scan up.
Rock of Ages did not count that shit. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
They never had them.
He still got his cut of the fucking cheese because they had to buy those off Psychopathic. They just didn't scan them probably.
That's true. Yeah, they got paid, but it just didn't.
It didn't
wasn't
show up in the
official.
registered. I don't know. Maybe it did. Who knows?
He's probably got.
He probably hollered at me. He was like, yo, we can go get it today if you want. I was like, what?
Fun fact: the only album I didn't buy ahead of time, Rock of Ages.
I bought the Wraith early.
Aerosmith.
I did buy that earlier. No, the only album I listened to.
I liked Pink. I thought that was a good CD.
That's the first time we hung out. He made me drive
I
me
was-
to get that.
It was just push play, not
Just
Pink was
push
the
play.
single.
Pink was the single. Yes. Yeah. Only album I didn't buy ahead of time because they told me not to.
Idiot boy.
The Wraith. I bought it when it came out and listened to it that night. Headphones in the dark.
What a shut up.
I listened to the Gimmick.
Yeah, I did, dude.
Everyone did
We
back then.
got to go up there together.
It felt better. You didn't experience the Wraith like me and him did.
You're right.
Pizza box and fucking shit, bizarre shit was nice too.
Oh, Hollow Wicked 2000.
Yeah.
We'll get to that another time.
They didn't scam those either. There's 2,000 CDs that they didn't scam. All right.
It came with your ticket.
It did. Just didn't have a barcode on it. Blaze. Anything else?
Everybody talking about Blaze, big baller. I don't give a fuck. We had two notes here. The release party. We dove into it deeper. If you want to hear a full backstory of the release
Yes.
party, that's the Hollow Wicked 2001 Children of the Wasteland episode. So
Yes.
we go full story about Jamie Madrox kicking a woman off stage, the hay bales flying on us. That was all discussed there. But
It was
we
all
could-
for One Less G's.
yeah, it was
release
that's
party.
the release party, which they announced a few days before on InsaneCloudPosse.com.
Less than a week, it seemed like.
Not yet, maybe like Wednesday, and that show was Friday. Like it was.
And he also
few
had
days.
an in-store at Hot Hats.
Yeah, that morning. So
Yes.
I just
Did
should
they
note
even
it.
have the CD there?
I'm sure they did then.
They didn't sell shit.
Were
early.
they selling the CD at Hallowicked that year? That's the question.
I don't know. Since I had it for a week before that, I don't know.
All I did was went to the merch booth and
What up?
the after party about that hoodie. By the way, folks, you're still listening. I have not found my Hallowicked 2001 hoodie. If you have one out there, large, XL, I will buy it off you.
2X.
There's a 2X on eBay with a few cigarette burns in it I thought about buying. But
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
I might just pull the trigger one night. But if not, I'm looking for a large or an XL.
We'll see how many White Claws deep you are tonight.
Let's buy it tonight.
Yeah, we'll do a live purchase.
That's another gimmick for another pod.
It's buying shit drunk online.
Oh, baby. We could do. Yes.
We're coming up with ideas on the fly, and we're gonna make them happen. Oh, I think that's kind of it for episode 0. You think that's a good place to stop?
Set the base, the groundwork.
Yeah, there's a lot more to discuss, and we have plenty
Yeah.
of time to talk about it. So anything that we missed, I'm sure we'll dive into later on. But if there's something you want to hear about, this is where the email and phone call comes in. Email us at juggalorwd@gmail.com or give us a holler at 810-666-1570. This season, I want to get more like live time questions. Like if people want to
during it.
Yeah, if it's Blaze, if it's anything Juggalo related, football related, I don't care. If you have the time to ask us a question and we can wedge it into a normal episode, we'll wedge it in.
Yeah, if you want to know what I think's going to happen next year in the college football playoffs, I think J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, them boys are going to roll.
I thought Steve got up and laughed.
He was about to.
I heard him move out of
15-0, it's happening. This year, heartbreaker. It was still Georgia's time, not ours. But we do get a lot of either people agreeing with my fandom or a lot of shit talking, a lot of SEC shit talking. So rightfully so.
Anything you want to hear or talk about, give us a call. Let us know. Or you can find us on all social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or the ever blowing up TikTok.
Makes no sense.
At Juggalo RWD on all those. You're listening to us wherever you're listening, whether that's Spotify, Apple, Podbean, Stitcher.
Or now watching, hopefully, unless we fuck this up. If not, sorry, folks, you're listening and you're not watching.
It's highly possible.
This is our first try at it.
If you can't find this on YouTube, you probably just hit the wrong button. It's not us, it's you. So try again later. But yeah, you can listen to us everywhere. Don't forget, rating, reviewing, and subscribing help us tremendously.
Right.
So hit those little buttons, hit the hearts.
It's super easy on Spotify, but I think you have to do it on your phone, on the mobile app. And you just hit the little stars. That's it. You know,
Spotify mark, really weird.
all I was saying is it's easy if you listen on Spotify. If it's on Apple, and it's on Apple, you have to write something for us. I mean, you could just do the stars, I guess, but it's better if you give us a little feedback on there. Feel free, whatever you want to write. As someone described it on a phone call, what is this? Better listening to this is better than getting flicked in the nutsack? Is that what that guy said? What did he say?
we have some other ones we're going to talk about, but we'll do that off air. I think that's it. So thanks for tuning into episode 0. Next week we'll get started on track number 1. Not Maggot Face, as it was going to be. But
makes no sense.
We're going to talk the eulogy here very soon. So
this is a little deep cut, too, because this kind of like lost time, unless you're listening to it on YouTube or something, you know?
No. Isn't the... I don't know.
Eulogy is not on any streaming services, or...
I thought this was on it instead of the other one. We'll talk about that next episode. We don't have time for that. We got to get going. We've outlasted our time, so we will see you next week on the Juggalo Rewind. And that's it.